media. As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show where we take a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media, and then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, he's known as the Guardian of Tampa, Florida. It's...
Yahel. How are you doing, Steven?
I'm doing great, feeling good, ready to talk about some cheesy 90s comics. How about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm excited to talk about this, but I am prepared to discuss it. So this is labeled, I noticed in the copyright, it says 2014, but that's got to be like the digital version, obviously. Based on the art and the low price of $1 on the cover.
Right. No, they jacked up they lowered the price because Jim Valentino was working on it.
I thought you liked Jim Valentino.
I do. I do. If you want to hear more about Jim Valentino, make sure you check out our review of Shadowhawk #1. From, I don't know, many episodes ago.
I'm sorry that they couldn't get Rob Liefeld to do this one too, Steve. I know he's obviously our boy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look at Valentino the same way I look at Liefeld, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, all right, so Rob Liefeld's a little bit higher. Valentino is almost, at least from this book, and this is already going into spoiler territory.
What do you mean higher? Like,
well, I mean, he's... I would say he's
like
just
your
got a
personal.
Yeah, the pantheon of image founders. I mean, obviously Rob Liefeld is above Jim Valentino. I mean, you got to agree with me there, right?
But I mean, I do. But do you mean like as in your personal preference of art style, or?
Oh yeah.
Just how prolific they were.
Or, yeah, I would take.
Maybe prolific's not the right word, but
I would take
visible.
I would take Liefeld's art over Valentino's art, but I would take Valentino's writing over Liefeld's writing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just because there's a little more to it. In this book, I would say there's too much to it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wish he would have used less words.
Yeah, this is a very dense comic book.
It's very expository.
Almost along the lines of a Wetworks #1 to reference more image stuff.
Yeah, I see where Mark Silvestri got his inspiration from. But
no, you got it wrong. Whilce Portacio.
Whilce Portacio. Yeah. I'm sorry, I apologize.
But just to clarify what we're talking about today for everyone, we are discussing Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from 1990. And I don't know if you were asking yourself this question, Yahel, but before we get to the comic, or the cover at least, everyone's going to go, why doesn't this look like the movies? Where's Rocket Raccoon? Where's Star-Lord? And where's, Gamora? And that is because those movies are pretty much based off the 2004 Guardians of the Galaxy comic. Did you read any Guardians of the Galaxy ever in your entire life?
Yeah, I think I remember reading a few issues as a kid and just not really, like as a young teenager, and not really being into it.
So the 90s one.
Yeah, because I remember I wanted to read it because it was in space, and I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll probably like this, but it was more Star Wars than Star Trek. And,
it was Star something, as we're gonna see. Why don't we just go ahead and jump into the Obscuritron so people can see what we're talking about? What do you say?
Let's do it.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right, and there it is, yes. And just as I said, no Rocket, no Star-Lord, no Gamora, But we do have, did you recognize from the movie here, Yondu?
Yeah, looking a little different,
Yeah.
but wearing a little bit of a sexier outfit, a more tantalizing Silk Stockings Junior-esque look
Oh
to
yeah.
him.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to describe the cover to everyone, but first I want to go through some more facts about the Guardians here. The original Guardians of the Galaxy premiered in Marvel Superheroes number 18 all the way back in January of 1969. And in this book, they actually flash back to the original team, if anyone was interested in seeing what they look like. And they were created by writer Arnold Drake, who I've never heard of, and artist Gene Colan, who I have heard of. I mean, I honestly thought this was the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you know they go back all the way to the 60s?
Yeah, because I had tried reading those too, and not good. Not good.
I mean, I'm gonna like. I'll say the 2004 Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, there's a reason why a movie was made from them because those books are good. Like, I'd never read a Guardians of the Galaxy before I read the ones from 2004, and if you want to see them done well, I would suggest checking that out. If you want camp, well, let's just say we're going to continue discussing this. Yeah, so this book premiered April 17th, 1990. And as I said, it's Guardians of the Galaxy #1. The name of it is But Are They Ready for Taserface? And did you know Taserface was also in the movie? Did you recognize him?
I did not remember Taserface. I haven't seen. Are you talking about like the first Guardians
It's the
movie?
second one.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I watched it in theaters and haven't seen it since, so like I don't really.
Well, I just remember there's a typical trope in these Marvel movies is when a guy comes out and says his ridiculous name from the comics, and then they go, "Oh, that's your name? What were you thinking?" And yeah, that's pretty much the scene. Taserface comes out, and I think he threatens like Star-Lord or something, and he just, of course, laughs at him, and it was pretty lame. But hey, whatever. Taserface made, from the comics, made the movie, as does Yondu, and as did Yondu's like whistling weird arrow thing. Did you see that in the comic as well?
Yeah. I was surprised to see that here. I like how Yondu's whole strategy is. It's kind of terrible. He will purposely miss when he shoots his arrow, and then he'll whistle it into like where he actually wants it to go. Which I guess on one side it's like, yeah, that'll confuse your enemy or maybe lure them into a false sense of security. But in the interim between you missing them, they can just kill you before you whistle, your arrow into place or whatever. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think it's the best strategy. Maybe shoot and immediately start whistling, like, or why even whistle? Just, or why even shoot the arrow? Just whistle it into place the whole time.
I mean,
which is like what they do in the movies, right?
Right. Well, it's amazing that I assume James Gunn actually read the comics and he was like, that's what I want in my movie, the whistling arrow. But it kind of worked on screen. It was kind of cool,
Yeah, on screen it worked because correct me if I'm wrong, he never fires it from a bow and arrow in the movie.
No. Who fires a bow and arrow in space?
Well, I'm just saying, like, he holds it like in his hand and then whistles it to wherever, which makes way more sense.
It does. So I would say, yeah, that's definitely an improvement on what we're about to read here. But here's a synopsis for Guardians of the Galaxy 1990, and it's taking place in the 31st century in the alternate reality of Earth 691. The Guardians of the Galaxy are the primary superhero team of the future. And this is written and drawn by the aforementioned Jim Valentino, known for creating Shadowhawk, and he's basically worked for every comic book company there is. Like we said, if you want to know more about Jim, make sure you check out our Shadowhawk episode. But when you were reading this, did you think to yourself that this guy would go on to like create like the premier indie like image, the premier indie comic book company of all time.
God, you get so nervous talking about JV.
I don't know why I'm getting you. I mean, I know he's not stalking us like Rob Liefeld might. I don't even think Jim Valentino even has a presence on social media.
I hope Rob Liefeld hears that we both said we place him above Jim.
I'm sure his ego sense started tingling when he heard that. I
like Rob Liefeld.
Me
I wish I
too.
could be the buttons on his Levi's 501 flies.
But answer the question. All right, so like reading this, if you're a Valentino or not a Valentino, God damn it, why can't I talk today? Okay, so
would I have expected Jim Valentino based on this to end up writing Shadowhawk?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Right.
I definitely feel like Shadowhawk is better written than this.
Sure.
So his writing certainly improved. I think his art improved too.
Oh, I agree.
Like, it's weird because the art here, it's not bad. I'm
No.
not trying to say that, but I don't know, the style here, it's like a weird mix of like 70s and 90s style.
Oh, you read my mind. Yeah, I was gonna say this is very Silver Agey feeling. Very sort of Jack Kirby meets like Jim Starlin, and I feel like this is sort of like right on the cusp before. I guess Image showed up and then everybody started being, more gritty and I guess sort of more the typical kind of 90s style that we're used to. Yeah, because this feels very dated, but maybe in a sort of fun way. I mean, I know if I would have like picked this up in like 92 or 93, whenever I started reading, I probably would not have cared for it. How about yourself?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have cared for it.
But a few more people who worked on this book. Steve Montano was the inker. Evelyn Steen was the colorist. Of course, this was published by Mighty Marvel Comics under editor-in-chief Tom DeFalco, which I feel like he might have been also editor-in-chief when we talked about Shadowhawk and Ghost Rider 2099. So he's the 90s
He probably
guy.
was, because he was editor in chief forever. So like in the 90s, I think late 80s too.
So what's going on with this cover here?
This cover looks like, honestly, it's probably some of the worst art out of the whole issue is the cover. I don't know, man. Like the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy from Jupiter. By the way, why is everybody like the last survivor of X colony?
Right, yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that 2-page spread. So yeah, you don't have to like name off everyone yet.
yeah. Well, that's good. I remember. But the big guy in the upper left-hand corner, aka definitely not Hulk, with the trapezoid kind of shaped head,
Right.
just very awkward.
That's
I mean, the cover's
Charlie 29 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the cover's all right. It's just like, I don't know, like he looks like a ripoff, like your typical big guy character. Beneath him, I can't even remember the character's name, Maximus or
Martin X. Martin X.
He looks in the cover. He looks more like Silver Surfer than anything.
He does.
But I mean, it's you know what it feels like? It feels like a splash page inside the comic book and not a cover.
Yeah, I mean it's your typical cover. I mean, showing off all the members of the team, including, I guess they felt a need to show Starhawk's weird female alter ego, which we will get to in a minute, because they're both there. Which, if you were...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just there to show you, like, the team, basically. And then it's...
I'm not a big fan of, like, when you have a cover and everyone's, like, looking off to, like, one side. Because it's like, well, what's over there? Like, why isn't... Am I not... because, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, most covers will have... Like, it's very strange to have everybody looking off to the left or to the right. Usually they're looking, like, forward or the action's kind of being brought to the reader.
Right. You think this would be a like a flip out page, like from that very successful like X-Men #1 by Jim Lee. Like the X-Men would be here, and then you'd flip it out.
And that would have made complete sense to do.
Yeah. So maybe they wanted to do a flip out cover, and they were like, "Sorry, Jim, we're cutting the budget on this."
We've seen enough.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I guess we can go ahead and jump into the comic. I always enjoy the little, I don't know the actual, it's like the starburst thing where it says in the lower corner here, explode into the Marvel universe of the 31st century. I mean, it's very throwback. I mean, at this point in time, it's not a throwback, but to do it now is kind of a throwback. But
I feel like even for then, it's kind of a throwback. There's a few like things here that felt very, and I know they were still being done here and there, but like the first cosmic issue thing,
right?
The explode into the Marvel universe. So those like little things that are like superimposed over all the art.
Right.
Later on, when like at one point, maybe it's at the end of the story where like they do the Stan Lee "Nuff said."
Oh, I love that though.
And then at some point in the story, I just want to bring it up now because I'm afraid I'll forget about it later when I'm tuning out because there's a lot of dialogue.
We're gonna do our best to condense that.
Yeah. We should definitely not go over this in too much detail. But there's a point where they're talking about bringing this little letterbox that comes up saying, "Oh, this is a reference to XYZ issue," but they make like a little quip, like in the letterbox, where they're like, "Oh, pretty sneaky way to promote that, huh?" It's like, that stuff always takes me out of the story. Like,
yeah, I mean, to me, that is like sort of classic Marvel because that was what was going on when I first started reading, like that sort of style, if you will. Of course, it changed pretty quickly, but yeah, that's I guess that was what they were known for a while. Yeah, I mean, I could see if you weren't used to it, or I could see not liking it for sure.
Well, let's get into it. By the way, I hate that this both takes place in the 31st century. So it's outside of time travel being involved, which we know that there's a lot of time travel stuff with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but outside of stories involving time travel and also going to Earth 616, which is like the main Marvel universe, like anything that happens here, like is probably not going to be impactful to any of the other books you might be reading as a regular Marvel reader. So I just hate that right off the bat. Like, to me, it's like kills the stakes.
Oh, so you must have really hated Spider-Man No Way Home then, like I do.
No, I actually like that movie.
I know you do.
That's the one with the 3 Spider-Mans, right?
Yes. We'll talk about it another time.
I like that because it has like a lot of heart. It's well written. It's fun. If this was fun, I would have. Spoiler: I didn't enjoy this.
I thought it was kind of fun. Anyway, all right, let's read and we'll render our verdict as we are supposed to.
All right, I'm going to take a nap while you.
Go fuck yourself. All right, here we go. Okay, so page number 1, it's a full page splash of the Guardians being fired upon by multiple lasers. I don't know. I might try to read some of this just because it's so cheesy. It's kind of fun. But yeah, we're going to try to get through this as quickly as we can. All right, so there is a second that wrestles with eternity, a heartbeat forever frozen in the tapestry of time that is such a moment. Look at if you can see this man's face, ladies and gentlemen. Check us out on YouTube. You got to
imagine the love letters Jim Valentino wrote to his poor spouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is great, real sweet.
Yeah. So, all right, dear Miss Valentino, the year is 317 AD, in one of the many possible futures of the multiverse, but it is one that we have visited several times before. The planet is called Kurg, an out-of-the-way low-tech world in the Bledsoe system. Bledsoe? Like, isn't that is that a sports guy or something? I don't know.
I think it's like I've heard it before as the last name, so it's just kind of like weird.
So blah blah blah.
Right now, there's an Eric Bledsoe in the NBA, or excuse me, the CBA. Mm-hmm. He plays for the Shanghai Sharks of the Chinese Basketball Association.
All right. Let me just finish this page. Okay. So the Guardians of the Galaxy were not expecting trouble when they arrived here, but seconds ago, a sophisticated bank of gun turrets rose from a barren, dirt-covered ground and began firing. The Guardians were caught unawares. It is not a state they will remain in for very long. What were your thoughts after reading this first opening page?
Unawares, plural. Why?
Oh, it's so overly complicated. It's hilarious. hilarious.
Yeah, like this could have been one box. It's the year 3017, and we're in one of the. Why does it say one of the many possible? Again, that's like diminishing the impact and the stakes, and you're like, oh, this is one of many possible futures. Like, you don't have to throw that in.
All right, so we're going to turn the page here, and I might need to adjust it because it's a double page spread. Let me see how it's looking. Oh, it's covering you up. No big deal.
That's Steve. That's fine.
Here we
Jim
go.
Valentino, I would love to be covered by Jim's artwork.
All right, so in this double page spread, we've got the credits, we've got the title of this book, which, as I said, was "But Are They Ready for Taserface?" And we basically have explanations and who's who of who everyone is on the team here. And I'm going to try to condense this as much as possible. So the first guy is, his name is Starhawk, and just an enigmatic mutant from the planet Arcturus. He wields the power of light and shares his physical being with the woman, Alita. So we've got some, some pro-trans stuff going on here. Nothing wrong with that.
I guess, in a way. Like, he does.
But then in the lower corner here, it says, but he shares the secret of being one who knows with no one. So,
but then later at the end, they literally say, because there was something he didn't foresee, they're like, oh, I guess you're not the one who knows isn't as infallible as he thinks he is.
Right. So yeah, the whole team knows about the alter ego here of Starhawk. So I don't know.
I think what Jim Valentino is trying to say, that he doesn't like share the power, or maybe how, because I guess he can see the futures.
Right.
To a certain extent.
So,
and he doesn't like share maybe like the. He is such a bad. This is so badly written.
It is. It
like,
really is.
How can you like write so many words and yet have things be less clear?
Right. And
let me. Can I take the next person?
Well, I was just gonna say. So he's like barking orders over here, and so and then we've got the next lady who is named Nikki, just Nikki.
Last child of Earth's Mercury colony. Last person of Earth's blank colony is basically the origin story for almost the rest of the team.
Right.
They're all like the last one. Anyway, so she can jump around, and she's got Ghost Rider hair, so it's on fire. And she has excellent marksmanship and sarcasm, apparently.
Oh, that's so funny. I have to read this because I thought it was hilarious. The agility of her limbs is exceeded only by the unerring skill of her marksmanship and the sting of her sarcasm. It's like he really wanted us to know that she's sarcastic.
Yeah. Anyway, she's also the navigator and the technical weapons expert.
Mm-hmm. And so,
that means.
Yeah, right. And so next we basically have the strong guy of the group. His name is Charlie 27.
By the way, these are great names. Nikki, Charlie.
And they call Martin X over here Marty the whole time. And then we've got Vance Astro, but we'll get to him in a second. So yeah, Charlie 27's like basically the strong guy. He's like a
genetically engineered guy,
a militiaman. So do with that what you will. And basically,
he's got a Punisher sticker on his truck.
Misunderstood Punisher sticker. And so then we've got our leader here, Martin X, who, as Yahel said, looks like the Silver Surfer on the cover, but here he looks like the Silver Surfer if he's like been beaten up, I guess, like made out of ice.
Made out of like low polygon. Like, he's like low poly Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Or made out of like a rock candy or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks very smooth. He looks like polygons.
Sure. I'll go with that. And he has the ability to shoot like heat from one hand and ice from the other. And then we have Yondu from the almost from the movie. Except for here, he's got a huge like mohawk fin thing going on. He looks like he could be a tiger shark almost. Firing.
By the way,
what's up?
When Martin X is when he's shooting his fire, I guess, 'cause it's orange. I could have the little like letters for like the sound is just CHUUM, but I thought it said cum when I first read
Oh, you're always thinking of cum. It's chum. I'm,
look,
yeah.
it's like what sound is cum?
I mean, chum isn't
Anyway.
much better.
No, it's not.
But yeah, and he's wearing like a weird, like Roman, almost sort of like a centurion toga uniform or something. He's got the loincloth going on.
Yeah, Yondu.
Yeah. And last but not least, we have Vance Astro, and he is the first Earthman to the stars, which I could have sworn some other astronaut was, but I guess he's from an alternate universe, so it's okay. And he's like encased in this blue suit that's supposed to, I guess, keep him alive forever, I suppose. And he has the mutant power of psychokinesis. So, all right, you just opened up this double-page spread for the first time. If you had to choose a favorite out of these wacky-looking characters, who would you choose?
Ugh. This is... I guess it would be between Starhawk and Vance Astro.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I think they're particularly great-looking characters. I just think the others are way even worse as far as their designs go.
Yep, Vance was my choice as well. I don't know. I think Starhawk's... he's got like crap coming off of his head, like his cape.
He's got like these arches that are coming off his head and back like wings, but then they connect to his boots. It makes no sense.
No, and that's and that's what I hate about a lot of the design of these characters is that their suits make no sense. And just wait till we get to the woman that he turns into. But okay, moving on to the next page. Let me adjust it here.
And they followed Starhawk's advice. After complaining, everybody was complaining too that he thinks he's the leader, so he's telling them what to do. Well, guess what? He was right.
Vance Astro yells, "It's clobbering time!" and they all fire upon the gun array or laser array, whatever you want to call it, and they all blow it up because they work together. Good for you guys.
Yeah. By the way, I love how at the bottom here it says that the array was reduced to so much slag and debris.
It must have taken him like years to write this, or at least
just think, what is slag?
Yeah, and
also, wouldn't you just say is reduced to slag and debris, not so much slag and debris?
Yeah, I feel like Jim Valentino was born before they came up with the show "Don't Tell" mantra.
This motherfucker definitely had a thesaurus next to him when he was writing this.
Either that or he gets high off of his own Mark writing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, then again, he's the one that has worked for decades in the industry and we haven't. So,
right. But hey, he doesn't have a cool podcast like we do. So take that. All right, so now we turn the page, and let's see. All right, page. So Martin X says that the thing they destroyed is not from this planet. After they destroy it, it sends out this distress signal, and then we see the villain of the book, Taserface. How would you describe Taserface to the audience here?
Well, I mean, I guess kind of the way he's described later on by the Guardians themselves. They actually say he looks a bit like Iron Man. And he kind of does. He's got yellow and red armor. Mm-hmm. One of his hands is a gun from the forearm up, which seems not very functional to me. But
right. Speaking of not functional, wait till we see why they call him Taserface. I feel so this is Iron Man mixed with every trope from the 90s. I see a lot of Cable in there also, which I mean, Cable did come out in 89, so it's very possible.
Yeah, he's got the whole chrome metal thing, which was always signified in comics with lines, straight lines through the chrome parts. They're just gold or whatever instead of silver, but yeah, pretty generic.
And then he has a cape.
He's got so many bells and whistles.
This is the era.
He looks like shit.
Yeah, this is the era of that. I mean, a lot of people blame Rob Liefeld for that. Not us, but
not us.
A lot of people blame
because Rob Liefeld. I mean, look, a lot of his designs, they have a lot of the same elements like pouches or chrome or whatever. But I don't know. They're all like still. He manages to make them, most of them, like unique and interesting. You know, like he like knows how to do that really well. And this just looks like Jim Valentino threw every fucking little thing he could think of. Okay, like he's got knee pads, right? So he's all chromed out. And over his chrome outfit, he's got like a singlet on, but like a high school type singlet. So it's like shorts singlet. And then on that, it's got like a sash, like a red sash. The singlet's black and red. Then he's got a sash. The sash has like 3 grenades or medals on it. Can't really tell. Then he's got 2 giant metallic knee pads, which is bad enough. But what do those knee pads have? Fucking a horn sticking out from the knee pad.
Right.
Then on his left hand, he's got like a metal glove on top of his metal armor. And on the knuckles of that metal glove,
spikes.
More horns, one for each knuckle. He's got a giant purple ponytail sticking up. And he's got like a full face mask, like Gambit kind of thing, where only the front of his face is visible.
Head sock.
And then he's got a cape. A head sock, yeah. Then he's got a cape on that's held together with these like gold chains. And if that's not enough, he's got a belt. He's got a sword on his right side, which doesn't make any sense because his right hand isn't a hand, it's a gun, so he can't really grab it with his right. I guess he could reach over with his left.
Right.
But then on the left, he's got like a sheath for like a knife.
For another sword?
This is too much shit. And did you notice that there's little cables connecting from his forearm, his left forearm, to the belt buckle?
Oh, you got to have the cables for some reason.
Like, just to what is going on here?
Jim Valentino was really trying hard to like impress everyone as an artist and a writer.
And last thing, I'm sorry, 2 giant hoop pirate earrings.
Wow. Yeah. You know who he also reminds me of? Do you know that Marvel sort of cyborg-looking guy, Deathlock? Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, too.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Now that we've met Taserface, okay, we are on page 6. Yondu attempts to talk to the native people of the planet who are like these weird, sort of furry, cat-looking people.
They're dogs.
They're
like dogs.
Yeah, somewhere in between there, dogs, yeah. And
Steve, did you notice that? I'm so mad that I noticed this. If you look at the second panel on this page where we first see like a close-up look of these dog/cat people, the woman, the female one, she's got like multiple breasts.
Oh, wow, I didn't notice that. Wow, thanks for pointing that out, you pervert.
And you know how Jim Valentino loves to draw females like you saw in Shadowhawk.
That's true. Yeah, he does. Wow. Oh, pervy Valentino at it again.
Yeah. So anyways, they basically look like anthropomorphic dogs or cats or some kind of combination of the two.
Yeah. So Yondu attempts to talk to those people, but they are afraid of him. And one tries to attack Yondu, but he does like the roll, kick, flip forward thing and like knocks the guy on his back, basically.
Just gently disposes of him, moves out of the way.
Right, because these are heroes, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on to the next page, the team, they basically separate. Yondu and Martin X beam up to their ship because they have to. There's dumb reasons here to make them split up. Basically, Martin X is like, we can't find the clue. They're not really. I do like that they're not really clear at first as to what exactly they're doing on this planet. And this is the first time he mentions that they're not sure that they're in the right place for this clue that they're looking for. So basically his solution is to go up to the ship to like double check. You think, wouldn't they have like a tricorder or something that they could, interface with the ship to like figure it out? I guess not, but
apparently not. Yeah, they do have transporter technology though, so at least they've ripped something off from Star Trek.
Right. So Yondu and Martin X beam up to the ship because Yondu wants to go because he wants to commune with his god Anthos because he is troubled. So in the rest of the crew, they don't want to go too and like go up there and relax. They're like, nah, we're gonna stay here and look around.
Everyone else is an atheist, so they're not gonna.
they're not interested in your praying. I don't think there's anything else to really mention about this page. Do you?
Nah. No, not at all.
Okay, so you're just like skip to the end. So on page 8, all right, so we're still on the planet. Vance Astro tells Nikki and Charlie that he's going to go hunt for the clue on his own, like for really no reason. I mean, he could have been like, I could move a lot faster without you two holding me back or whatever. But no, he's just like, I'm going to go over here. And then Militia Man says, basically, he sexually harasses Nikki, the girl with the Ghost Rider hair. He's all, suits me, Vance. I've been waiting for a chance to get Nick alone for a while now. And you just look at the grin on this guy's face, like.
But I got the impression that they are together or have consensually hooked up, because then she's like, "You're still not over the burns from last time, big boy. Like, I'll play for."
Yeah, and then he goes, "Am I complaining?" And
he likes a little shit. It sounds like Nick's a little bit of a dommy mommy. That's fine.
Yeah. I always hear like new slang whenever I talk to you, much like the slang I learned from reading Shadowhawk #1.
I'm trying to keep you young and trying to let you know what's hip, Steve.
Thanks. Yeah, and then so Charlie's like, "Am I complaining?" So yeah, they did. I mean, it's all on board. But like, they're in the middle of a mission, and Charlie's I just want to do some quick boning. But anyway, so this is Jim Valentino's chance to introduce us to Starhawk and whatever's going on with him, with his dual genders or whatever. So Vance is all, "Hey, where did Starhawk go? I want to ask him something." like what? What do you want to ask? And
very, very sweet.
Yeah. So Nikki says, "He just walked away from us. As usual, he thinks he's too good for us, you know." And then Charlie's like, "Yeah, well, I wish he'd turn into Alita permanently. Her I can deal with, because I want to bone her." He doesn't actually say that, but we can only assume.
You can only infer, yeah. It sounds like everybody prefers Alita for...
Yeah, right. Well, after seeing her, I can't really blame him. But hey, so now we get the transformation sequence. Basically, Starhawk is thinking to himself, "Oh, your wish may come true sooner than you think. I feel the change upon me." And like, I'm really kind of confused about sort of what's going on here. Like, can he only stay as Starhawk for a while until he has to turn into Alita? They aren't really clear on it. But anyway, he transforms into this... I don't know, Barbie looking of a blonde. Like, do you want to describe her costume?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's
classic
blonde.
Jim.
Yeah, it's very. You know what? Okay, the front is like that J-Lo green dress from like the 2000s, like that made a big.
Splash.
And that was like a big deal, yeah, because it was like barely covering her chest and like it was super low cut. So that's kind of like what the front is, and it's black and gold. She's got pants on otherwise, though. Gotta keep them legs covered.
Of course.
And yeah, that's pretty much her outfit. Just a lot of cleavage and like it's very low cut, goes down like to like her belly button.
You can see her abs.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe she just wants everybody to like see her hard work.
Right.
That I guess I don't know when she's exercising, since she is only around part of the time.
Right. I mean. And we must assume that she literally has abs of steel because, yeah, as Yahel said, I mean, she basically has no protection in, like, the chest and ab area. So in the very last panel here is Alita's face. And how would you describe that face?
Orgasmic. How would you describe it?
Let's say O-face. Yeah, it is. She's saying, "Free again." And then, of course, old Valentino, he couldn't just let the art speak for itself. Below her face, it says, "The air fills her lungs, and she relishes its sweet taste."
Next time I have an orgasm, that's what I'm going to say. I'm gonna
free again!
Yeah, free again!
All right, let's see. Moving on to the next page. All right, now they're on their ship, which is called the Freedom's Lady. And by they, I mean Yondu and Martin X. And basically, the whole point of them going up there like they sit around this fire that Yondu has created. He's like sitting, sort of kneeling in front of it in the most awkward looking way possible. Like, do you agree? His hands are like by his side. It looks like he's trying to do like Hindu squats or something, but he just can't quite pull it off.
Yeah, it's very, very weird, but it's fine. I mean, he's an alien, so
Yeah. Who are we to question Yondu's religion?
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically asks Martin X to come and like commune with him around the fire, and of course Martin is all, "I don't believe in your crazy hocus pocus," but he's like, "Oh," Yondu's all, "Well, you're gonna have a vision anyway." It's almost like when if you tell a Christian you're an atheist, they're like, "Well, God loves you anyway." So yeah, basically the whole point of this like flashback or quote unquote vision that they have is to just sort of talk about the history of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And we turn the page here and we see that they went back to Earth 616 and they teamed up with Captain America to fight this like alien race called the Badoon. They teamed up with Doctor Strange and the Defenders. Like, I mean, you really don't need to know this stuff to to enjoy the book.
I guess they're just trying to like establish like, oh yeah, these guys, they're just as good as these other heroes that and love from the main line universe.
Sure, and they're all like, oh well, we've been around, you just didn't know because it was in an alternate timeline. Adoy. So we turn the page. And let's see, it's more flashback. You basically get 3 pages of flashback here. They fight Korvac, and some other sort of cosmic space stuff. Team up with Thor. Let's see, and then they talk about how, and they team up with Adam Warlock. Wow, there's even more flashback that I forgot about. Yeah, I mean, let's see, page 12, and Spider-Man, of course. And this was actually interesting to me because I read the New Warriors in the 90s. I love them. There was I guess Vance Astro went back in time to try to convince his younger self not to be an astronaut. And then that inadvertently made his younger self turn into Marvel Boy. Are you familiar with Marvel Boy at all?
No, not really. But if I want to read it, I can read about him every month in the pages of the New Warriors. Yep. How's that for a sneaky plug? Which is what the letterbox I was complaining about earlier.
See, I kind of missed. I mean, I don't need the sneaky plug part, but like I loved.
That's what I don't like. How's that for a sneaky plug? I like that they're like, hey, you can read more about this here, or hey, XYZ thing that they're talking about happened in this issue. I actually love that. I hate the little like snarky quips that Marvel would sometimes add on to these, or they'd give like the editor like a stupid nickname. Like they actually, I think they do it on this page too. Yeah, they have like another letterbox that's like saying, oh, for a more detailed account of this, yada yada. And then it says like dash encyclopedic Greg.
I don't know why anyone would hate that, but okay.
Because it just like takes me out of the story. Right. Like, it's weird.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, moving on. If you're reading a log, we're on page 13 now, and basically this sort of almost brings it a full circle of where we are now. They basically explain that Yondu found a book basically that he thought was like magical or religious or something, and it talked about this magic disc. But then when Vance read the book, he's like, "Oh, you idiots! This is clearly Captain America's shield." And
why is Vance wearing like a t-shirt? He's like wearing a t-shirt over his regular like hero costume.
Hey, he's off the clock, buddy.
But everybody else is only in their like costumes. I don't know.
Right.
I just thought it was funny.
It is funny. But so he knew it was Cap's shield, and now they're following all these clues that are in the book that will eventually lead them to the shield, which is basically why they're at the planet. They followed the clues, and it led them to this planet. And after the end of the flashback, and this I thought it was hilarious because it undercut everything. Basically, like Yondu's like, well, Marty or Martin X, whatever he calls him, what did you learn from your vision? And he's all like, nothing. Like,
he's like, nothing. I already knew about all this.
lived it.
Through it.
Yeah. So the whole point was to show us, the reader, like their backstory, more or less. So they beam back down to planet Korg, and let's see, page 14. Vance asks if it's the right planet. Martin says yes, but there's still no clue. Vance says someone else must be looking for the shield and are one step ahead. What a conspiracy theorist. Basically, all the important stuff that happened on that page. Did you have any comments about it?
No. I didn't realize any of this was important. So.
Wow. You hear that, Jim? He's ragging on your page. All right, so we turn the page yet again, and basically Taserface beams into panel and immediately shoots Vance Astro. We get a foom, and Alita's like, Vance! And yeah, I mean, that's basically all that really happens on this page, but I do think this is funny and it's worth reading. So, all right, so Taserface beams in, and he's all, stand fast, aliens. You beings are trespassing. You have 3 seconds to quit this world or die at the hands of Taserface.
Quit this world. What? Who talks like this?
But this is the rebuttal from Vance is what cracked me up. He's like, what? Now just hold on 1 minute, Taserface. It's like, I don't know why that it just sounds like something like Barney Fife from like Andy Griffith would say or something. Like, now wait just a gosh darn minute, Taserface. And then
like clearly he needed to like fill in some space on this page.
Right. Or, I mean, and then Taserface shoots him, which he deserves to be shot for saying something so stupid. So moving on, I will say, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of it in this book, but you know, the speed lines here and stuff, it just, I enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, I do too. They're well done.
So moving on to page 16, this is all a lot of action. So, I mean, in any other book, it would go by quickly, but there's a whole bunch of exposition added to the fight here because, you know, old Jim, he just loves his writing so much. He has to throw it in. But basically, Charlie punches Taserface, but then is shot by Taserface. And then Yondu brings out his arrow, yes, from the movie, and uses it against Taserface to some pretty good effect. And he whistles and everything. So moving on, now we are on page 17. Taserface takes out most of the team, and Martin X tells Alita that they need Starhawk, but she doesn't want to. Like, how dare they say that a man can do a job that a woman can't? Is that what's going on here?
I guess so.
I mean, it's I don't even know. They're not even clear on what Alita's powers are. They did mention in the flashback that I forgot to mention that I guess at one point Starhawk and Alita had kids, and somehow they got bound together. They weren't really clear on it, but anyway. So she says no, she doesn't want to, and then Charlie basically rams into the back of a Taserface, Juggernaut style. And now we are on the next page, and lo and behold, we get Starhawk. Thank God he's here with his ridiculous headpiece that attaches to his boots. He'll save the day for sure.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, how could this even like be an out? Like, how? Okay, when he needs to put on something else, how does he fold this outfit?
Right. And what I think,
like, how does he put it away?
And what I'm thinking is like, how is like editor-in-chief Tom DeFalco, when he like looks at these pages on his desk, is like, yes, this is what the kids want in 1990. A guy with a weird headpiece that attaches to his boots. Good job, Jim. You've done it again. But anyway, so yeah, Starhawk appears. He blasts Taserface. Charlie puts him in a half Nelson. And I love that he felt a need to tell us that he's using a half Nelson. And I guess shout out to anyone who's ever wrestled before.
Yeah, but isn't it like spelled wrong? He like spelled it like
Neeson.
Nice,
Yeah, half Neeson.
instead of Nelson. It's a half Nelson, like the name Nelson.
Yeah, it's
so.
named after Liam Neeson for some reason in this alternate world. Yeah, the half Neeson. But Taserface is all, "Fool, you hold nothing." And then as Starhawk is closing in on Taserface, a massive laser, or taser if you will, emits from Taserface's helmet, or face if you will, and zaps him. And then as he's doing this, he says, "There's a reason why I'm called Taserface. Zerp! Zerap!" Like, what is that onomatopoeia there? Is Zerap? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Maybe Jim Valentino's deaf. I mean, it's the only thing I can think of. It seems like he's never heard any sounds. Like think about the way he writes dialogue.
He doesn't get out much. Yeah.
He writes like a man that's never heard a sound.
So then in the final panel, basically Martin X is all, "I'm tired of playing games with this guy. You want to play rough, Taserface? Okay, let's play real rough." And then Vance is there. "Now you're talking, Marty." Like, so I guess this is a way of rallying the team or something. It's just, is that not the lamest, like, sort of tough talk you've ever heard?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and it's also very like Power Rangers-ish. Like, oh, I could have done this thing to take you down the whole time, but I didn't want to until now.
Yeah, we could have formed the Megazord at the beginning, but no, we always wait till the end of the episode. Yeah, so he shoots an ice blast from his hand. Or no, wait. This is some classic Valentino writing here. "A burst of freezing cold issues from the Pluvivian's silicone appendage." Why does it have to be an appendage? Why can't it just be a hand, Yahel?
And it's a really weird way of using the word issues.
Yeah, right?
I don't think like any variation of issue really should have been used here, but I think you could have said, like, if you insisted on it, a burst of freezing cold is issued would have made more sense.
Well, I'll say that Jim Valentino has issues with the English language.
And it's so weird. Like, presumably this issue got notes from the editor,
Tommy,
to Jim. So it must have been like even worse.
Right. That's a good point. Or they could have just rushed it. Who knows?
Yeah.
So moving on to page 19, he freezes Taserface's head. The blast from Martin X freezes his head. Also shoots his psychokinesis from his brain, also firing upon Taserface. He's down, and Charlie also, well, no, he just sort of stands above him and goes, "All right, now that's what I call teamwork." And much like at the beginning of the issue with, that laser array sending out a distress signal, just Taserface just falling down on his back sends out a signal to some unknown villain that we never really see. We turn the page and we see that villain's ship, and they're just sort of talking about it, saying that he's down and stuff is going on. We need to further investigate, something like that. If you're not going to read further, you're probably not going to be too interested in that. So basically the important parts, and I'm using that term loosely, is Starhawk is okay. Martin X wants to know like where he came from, because obviously he wasn't from the, and by him I mean Taserface. He wants to know where Taserface came from, because he's obviously not from that planet. Then let's see. We have some more wacky dialogue here from Vance Astro. He's like, "Well, what do you know? Seems the one who knows ain't as infallible as he thinks he is after all." Talking about, I guess, the Starhawk who admits he doesn't know everything, I guess. Real good.
By the way,
what's up?
When Starhawk is on the ground here, he doesn't have like those weird things connected to his boots.
Yeah. That's, I guess.
So maybe does he only use them when he's flying? Maybe.
Oh, there you go. Well, that still doesn't
I
make
thought I saw
sense,
him
but I'll go with it.
I mean, I could have sworn I saw him with them on while he was standing around in
Right,
other panels.
right. I guess the only man who knows is Jim Valentino. So we turn the page. Let's see, page 21. Nikki says he being Taserface reminds her of Iron Man. Then someone off frame says he's one of us. And they all sort of look, just like on the cover, they all look, well, sort of towards camera to whoever said that. And we turn to page 22, and we're met with basically a team of Taserface looking people, and they are known as the Stark. And I guess we can only assume that somehow they're all villains that are made from Stark Tech or something. But you won't find out unless you read the next issue, because that is the end of Guardians of the Galaxy #1. Next issue. Enough said. Anything you want to?
Yeah, and there's I think I counted 19 of members of the Stark.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
So good luck.
And I love watching Jim Valentino trying to make variations of sort of his typical design style. Man, he's really into shoulder pads as well. And these are wacky. Yeah. They're not even cool, not even cool shoulder pads. And how could any of these people even move? The middle character, she's completely chromed out, chrome on top of chrome. But whatever, it's the future.
She has talons in her, giant talons that go almost past her forehead, on her shoulder pads, talons down her triceps and forearms, and her thighs. And there's another character behind her that's flying that's got similar shoulder pads. How could these people even stand next to each other in an elevator, Steve?
Yeah, right. Hold on one sec. You need me, Blade? You need to poop? You gotta poop? Okay. All right, here you go. You got it, right? Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm almost done. Yeah, and I just love how they all have that same sort of goblin-esque Taserface face. Why are they all purple? I mean, I guess that's their race or something. I do like this Boba Fett looking guy up in the top left.
Oh yeah, that is very Boba Fett looking.
But he's the only
1 out of 20 ain't bad, I guess.
He's the only one who has. It looks like he has an exposed arm. How dare he? He must be a real rebel amongst these guys. Wow. Well, should we call it? I think that's Guardians of the Galaxy #1. Shall we render the verdict?
Yeah. I do want to say these guys kind of remind me the way they look of I think it's the Krees. They're just purple versions of the Krees.
Right. Yeah. True. Maybe mixed with a little bit of Borg for you, huh? A little Borg. A little Borg.
No.
For you. I was just trying to relate to you, my Trek brother. Does that offend you as a Trekkie? Does it?
No.
All right. Well, let's do this thing.
Next question.
All right. Agent Velasquez, do you think that Guardians of the Galaxy 1990 #1 should be remembered throughout the multiverse, or shall it be tossed into a forgotten void, never to be heard of again?
I'd say trash this one. I didn't enjoy it. The writing is pretty bad. The art is okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but it feels more outdated than it should for a book that came out this year. And I just don't think it's good. What do you think?
Well, I was almost sort of on the fence just because it it almost veered into so bad it's good territory with its, as you said, incredibly dated dialogue and overabundance of exposition. Like, not too long ago, I tried to read like the very first What If, like #1, written by Stan Lee, and it's just as bad with the density of exposition and stuff like that. So that was just sort of like the style back then. But yeah, but ultimately this is forgettable. So I mean, the art is like you said, okay, and the writing, I mean, it's like almost as if he was trying to write a B movie like on purpose, but wasn't bad enough. So for all those reasons, Guardians of the Galaxy #1, you are obliterated.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
All right, well, I really feel like we did the Lord's work today.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I hear that the new Guardians of the Galaxy is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I forgot to ask, I mean, I think I already know, but I guess just for the record, like, what are your thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy movies that you have seen? I mean, you saw the first two at least, right?
Yeah, I really liked the first one a lot. Second one I didn't like as much, but I did enjoy it. It was a good, fun little romp, and at least it was like a different setting than the typical Marvel Universe movies. So, yeah, I liked them. What about you?
Yeah, I agree to most of that. It was a little too jokey at times for my liking, and especially since the 2004 Guardians of the Galaxy comic was just so good, and like that's what I wanted to see up on the big screen. I mean, we got a variation on it, to say the least. But yeah, I'll eventually watch #3. Yeah, aside from that, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't read anything past the 2004 Guardians, but I doubt I'm missing out on anything. But so is it safe to say you won't be? This is actually the Jim Valentino run of Guardians of the Galaxy is actually collected in an omnibus. Should I buy it for you for your birthday or Christmas?
No, I'm good, Steve. I've got enough kindling around here already.
All right. Other than that,
because I would burn it is the implication.
Thanks, Garth. I get it. But yeah. I'll be at my first con ever next Saturday, which is called Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California. So,
well, your first con as like a comic creator.
Yes, as a creator. Yeah, for sure. So stay tuned for the trailer for my comic, which if you can't make the con, you can always order from the link in the description. Other than that, I guess we will see you next Sunday as we continue to unearth even more obscure media, only on Obscurity Now. See you next time. I'm having a weird day. The name's Adam. Where I'm from, I'm known as the Zero Thief. Depending on who you ask, some might say I'm the best thief. But believe it or not, even the best screws up every once in a while, and that's what I did, and I had to make a fast getaway. I ended up crash landing on this bizarre planet. Turns out, I didn't get away fast enough. These winged freaks followed me here.
It's just us here, Zero Thief, on this empty, backwoods planet. So start talking, either to me or my blade.
Okay, I do have something to tell you. It's about the planet. It's not that empty. Come on, man. I thought you were gonna duck. Loose. Cut me loose. Behind you. Whoa. Thought I was done for. It was gonna be a light snack for a snarling creature. But then, she showed up, riding on the back of one of those monsters like it was nothing. And with a wave of her hand, the other razor-toothed beast just stomped away. I'd never seen anyone like her before in my life. I thought I'd say something clever. Thanks, have you seen my ship? She gave me a look that said more than words ever could, because I think she was trying to read my mind or something. And from there, things just got even weirder. Escape to Earth. 30 pages. You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.